All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon. I figured I'd set up the sun telescope today and get some images of the sun. There's not really much going on. We just have a few active areas here. I'm not sure if I don't know why it's pointing like that. A few active areas here. I think when I looked online, there was some prominences here of some hot hydrogen gas. So in plasma. So I'm gonna get some images of the surface first. So let's see here. Yeah, so you can kind of see some here. So I'm currently using a Coronado PST hydrogen alpha telescope. Oh, that's a little bit too much gain. Take that down. So I'm going to get some the Wi-Fi signal isn't that great outside. Probably need to get a signal booster. I'm going to overlay some sun color for everyone, as I usually do. So basically, I'm using what is called a monochrome camera, as I mentioned every time I do these live views of the sun. So basically, that means that there's no color that will come onto the chip. Basically, I mean, with the sun, it's all white anyway. And then in post processing, once I get all the images stacked, I will add some false color to it to basically kind of look like this. But basically, monochrome cameras, they get way more detail because there's less processing going into colors and everything else. Plus, it's just better to use. So let's brighten that up here. That's like the opposite of brightening up. Okay, so I'm going to do normal. Come on. Let's do about 1,000 frames. And this will be a video of 1,000 frames instead of taking individual pictures, and then I can parse out those exposures. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. So let's get that going here. I don't know why it's discarding so many. Kind of weird. So I'm running my ZWO 1600 Pro camera, if anyone is wondering. And Coronado PST is, 400 millimeters of focal length. And I have a 2.5 times Televue PowerMate Barlow lens on there. Basically, with that telescope, like it doesn't exactly get into focus as well as it should. Why is it discarding so many frames? That's kind of annoying. But I guess if... All right, well, whatever. I guess if it gets the entire 1,000 in there instead of just that. Okay. well, whatever. So it does about 11.5 frames per second. Let's get the sun back over here. Wrong direction. No matter how many times I do this, I always lose track of which way I need to move the dang mount. So my telescope is currently sitting on a Celestron CGX mount, 55 pounds of capacity, tiny scope on a huge mount. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it doesn't take much to get nice pictures of the sun. Okay, so let's crank up the gain. So basically, I got a picture for the surface. And now, as you can see, as I increase the gain, basically, I guess on these astrophotography dedicated cameras, I guess you could kind of equate the gain to like the ISO or the ISO amount. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's how I would call that. So you have exposure time and then the ISO. All right, so let's get 1,000 frames of this. And that should be good, right? Not too much. There's that little. Okay. I'm going to try a little bit more just to see. I might completely blow it out. Yeah, that's too much. Let's get back down here. There we go. Yeah, that's good. And we're off to the races. Maybe. Did it start? Okay, now it's going. Let's see if I can get the. Mm-hmm. Okay. So basically, these little jets of material here is basically hot plasma coming off of the surface of the sun. Whoa, what happened there? Excuse me. Okay. What the heck just happened with my camera? That's a little concerning. What the heck happened? Hold on. Well, I don't know what is going on with the camera. I'm going to cycle it through. That's really... What the hell is going on? Don't tell me my camera broke. What the heck? Why is that zoomed in like that? Who did that? How did that happen? Well, that's good. Okay. So maybe I just clicked around somewhere and I wasn't aware of it. Like, what? That is so out of whack. All right. All right. So the focus is still good. Let's bring that down again. Jeez, hello. You know what? Actually, that looks better. My gosh. So I don't know what happened there. All right. So let's bring that again back up. Jeez. Let's try this again. Around 1,000 frames. Thanks to Dude Dad. You know who those guys are, probably. Anytime I say anything having to do with 1,000, I say, oh, that'll be about 1,000. Those guys are funny. Anyway, so it looks like that is finally working now. I don't know what the heck happened there, whatever. At first, I thought maybe the camera fell out of the telescope or something. I don't know. You never know with astrophotography what's going to happen. But this should be pretty cool. I tend to go back and forth with my processing because sometimes I do the surface, and then I'll do the prominences like here. Then I'll combine like the two images together as a composite image. But sometimes I like just having just one shot and just expose the outside part a little bit more, just because otherwise I get like a black line around the edge and it's kind of weird. So, all right, so that is done. So I'm going to bring that back down. Okay. See, I like that auto function. Okay, so let's, I guess, do a little bit of explaining on the sun. See if I can do the controls a little bit better here. Display contrast. So this won't affect the images that I just got. It's more or less just for everyone to look at here. Oop, that's not what I want. Maybe a little bit more. Why does it look like that? I don't know. Focus might be a little bit soft. I'm kind of surprised with how windy it is outside, how well it's kind of holding its position. Sometimes it can get like super shaky, but obviously, like I said, with a tiny little telescope on the CGX, it's pretty stiff and it's not going to go anywhere. Really, the only like shifting around here that you see is mostly just from the atmosphere being kind of wonky right now. I see I have some Newton's rings. You can kind of just faintly see like these circular, I guess, shadows, I guess you could call them. But that's it. Yeah, Newton's rings. Look it up. So I basically have to put a tilt plate on the camera to kind of attempt to get rid of these, just so it's not. Yeah, the camera sensor has to be like tilted away so it doesn't have these circular things on them. As you can see, a bird or a bug, probably a fly, keeps going in front of the telescope. Anyway, so these little like wisps of cloud looking things. So these are, from this perspective, they're called filaments. So there's one here, these little things here, that little thing. Basically, they're still prominences, but it's basically just if they're face on to us, they are filaments. But just imagine that these are like shooting off into space. Within prominences is when that's coming off the limb of the sun. And these are sunspots. These can be seen if you use white sun filters. They're just little cooler spots of the sun, and they're not actually black. It's just that they're so much cooler compared to like the rest of the area. It just makes it look super dark. Kind of the same thing as like if you have, like, if someone is standing in front of a white screen and they're wearing like a darker color, then they're going to look really dark just compared to the rest of it. So kind of the same thing. It's like the best way I could think to explain that. But that's also where flares come out of, and basically a solar flare is just like a prominence where material actually escapes the sun's atmosphere and shoots out into space. So they also call that a CME, or a coronal mass ejection. And obviously, if those come toward us here on Earth, that is what causes power outages, issues with GPS, satellites, that sort of thing. And also the northern lights, or scientifically named the aurora borealis. I'm going to move this over. Wrong way. Down is left. Okay. So I think that looks pretty good. I haven't done the sun in a long time. I enjoy doing it. You know, sometimes it can be really hot, which is why I went out and checked the camera, because surprisingly, it's not even warm. I might try to turn on the cooler just to. I feel like sometimes it distorts it, but whatever. And I mostly only did the cooled camera just because it has the bigger sensor on it. Yeah. Otherwise, with my 174mm, it'd just be like a tiny little, like you wouldn't get the whole disc of the sun in, but who wants to see that? Okay. Is there anyone even on right now watching? Is it just me? Just gonna enjoy the view here a bit. I'm really glad that we've been having fewer clouds. Of course, it's windy. I'm still working on M13, the Hercules cluster at night, but I've been traveling for work and I just got back. And I don't know if the wind with my Edge HD, that's, as they say, a sail. So any kind of movement, I don't know, it might be too windy to image tonight. Plus the moon is out, so that's no fun. I don't know. I might live stream the moon tonight, even though it's going to be practically a full moon. I don't know. It depends. Sometimes it's too bright and it's not really any fun to look at because all the craters are just full of light. I think the sun is potentially flying by me. Potentially my favorite thing to image, just because it's literally different every second. Like there's stuff going on the sun. Like that might shoot something off. You just never know. It's always changing. All right. I think that's all I have for today. I'm not gonna do anything more. I think I'm just gonna enjoy the view for myself. It's kind of non-satisfactory. It took me it usually takes me about an hour to get set up with setting up the tripod and then the telescope and getting the camera attached and the scope on the mount and getting the power hooked up, computer, log into the computer remotely through my laptop, getting set up live. But I'm doing it for you guys. So checking on my Pegasus power box here that I control all the powered stuff through. Oh man, it is 93 degrees outside. Holy buckets. I have a temperature sensor on it. Super nice. Not too much power. 35% humidity. That's pretty good. Dew heaters. Sweet. Yes. All right, let's get back. All right, super excited. So let's just take this off. Oh yeah, that'll look good. All right, I think that's it for me. Let's see. Oh, hold on. All right, thanks for joining, everyone. Future watches, thank you. Everyone have a good rest of your Sunday and have a good week.